Hello, I'm Simon Jones and this is a bonus video accompanying our spaceship tutorial. If you want to know more about how we made the planets in the shot, well, you've come to the right place. Let's take a look at the blue planet. We've covered creating sphere planets in previous tutorials, but there's a couple of extra details with this planet which are worth covering. Our starting point is this, a fractal noise texture wrapped onto a sphere. I've also dropped the reflection amount down to 0, so that the planet doesn't disappear into darkness around the edges. This layer I then converted into a new composite shot, and with that embedded into the parent comp, I can now create the shadowing. Using the ellipse tool, I'll draw an oval shape and position it to the left a little. This removes everything outside of the mask. And by ramping up the feather, it creates a soft edge and the appearance of the planet being in shadow. I also want the left side to be slightly dimmed. I'll draw another mask, positioned slightly to the right, again heavily feathered. This mask I'll set to an intersect blend. And there we have a nicely lit planet. The problem though is that masking it like this is actually removing those sections. And so while it looks okay here just on black, if I change the background colour to a mid-grey, you can see that the planet's actually got whole chunks missing. And this will become really obvious once we put it on top of a star field. What we actually want is for that darker area to be black rather than cut away. So to do this, I'll select the layer and duplicate it. And on the duplicate, I'll remove those masks. So we've got back to our full planet shape. I'll then add a fill effect, which is set to black, and can just adjust the opacity to change how dark the planet is. And with these two layers combined, it looks just right, and you can't tell that it's actually two layers put together. This composite shot I then dropped into the main shot with the star field, and used the same environment map viewer effect to make it a part of that wraparound background. The environment map viewer effect by default wraps the layer that you've selected onto the sphere, and it will reflect that layer so that it covers the whole sphere. In the case of the star field, that was exactly what we wanted. In the case of the blue planet, we don't really want loads and loads of copies of the blue planet, so make sure you turn the wrap option to none. While the blue planet is a flat texture composited onto the wraparound background, the orange planet is an actual sphere in the scene, so that it reacts more naturally to the camera's position. The planet was created using a really high radius sphere, over 8,000 radius in fact. I then created a point layer and set it to 3D, and then in the sphere's position properties linked it up to that point. That means I can use the point layer to precisely position and rotate the sphere in 3D space. Thanks for watching, and make sure you also finish watching the spaceship tutorial if you haven't already.